of years ago, an early society of people called the Aztecs roamed the land of Mexico.
Here I am, Natsand, wholly unsatisfied.
Listen up, listen up! Our patron god, Huitzilopochtli, has spoken to me. We must leave our island city of Aztlan and move on.
But where will we move?
Even I do not know yet. But I know our god, Huitzilopochtli, will show us the way.
All right then.
In 200 years, the Aztecs traveled, living a semi-nomadic life. They continued to search for the sign that their god had foretold. They followed their god's knowledge, as religion was a large part of the Aztec worldview. And
are we there yet? It's so different here. I see mountains instead of lakes and deserts off in the distance.
Yes, it is very diverse here. But our god has not yet shown us the sign, and we will continue on until we find one.
Years later, they came across the Valley of Mexico, a large basin with a spring-like climate. When they attempted to settle, however, they found that the land was already occupied by many city-states.
Finally! This place seems pretty nice.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is my land!
They were forced to travel on.
Our people have been traveling for 200 years. Isn't it time yet?
Why, yes! Look there! Exactly the sign that Huitzilopochtli told me to look for.
This place is awfully wet and swampy. We're going to have to manipulate the land to be able to survive here. You're right. We'll have to develop new farming techniques for the different types of land and try to get food from the watery deposits of the swamp.
We also might have to create chinampas by staking out the shallower lake beds and then fencing in the area.
What's a chinampa?
Huitzilopochtli told me it was an artificial island.
Provided they could farm and their chinampas, the Aztec people grew maize, beans, squash, tomatoes, and chilies. The chinampas were mainly used to grow flowers, making their farmland lush and beautiful.
To divide the food that goes to the commoners and to the noblemen. They're different. And remember, only the noblemen can have the special alcoholic drinks and necessities.
Aztecs worked to build a capital city within the Aztec Empire on their lake land in Tenochtitlan. They used ideas from a Toltec, who they greatly respected, to set up their empire, dividing it into 4 quarters and placing the temples in the middle.
We're masters of creating refined societies. We will use our ideas to create our capital and empire.
And since the population of Tenochtitlan is growing, we will be able to expand into neighboring city-states.
In the building of the empire and city, the Aztecs of Tenochtitlan continued to look to the gods and stay true to their beliefs.
The moon and Venus are all in line. This must mean something.
Maybe it's a message from Huitzilopochtli. He is our sun god after all.
But it could be Tlaloc, the rain god.
You all are silly. It's Quetzalcoatl, the god of life and intelligence. If this is a sign from the gods, it could be from him.
I believe this is a sign from Ometeotl. The double-gendered god is our creator.
Sacrifice to the sun and rain gods, Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc, was an honor to the Aztec
We
people.
will rise if we do not offer our blood and our skin to Huitzilopochtli. The sun is a god that protects us from monsters. Do you want us all to die?
I volunteer!
Sacrifice.
I hope you accept this token of our gratitude.
Sacrifice.
Now that that's over with, we need a child to sacrifice to Tlaloc. He will grant us with rain and therefore bountiful crops.
But why are we doing it here?
It's the Teocalli, dingus.
Teocalli?
You know, the ceremonial building, like the temple on top of the terrace pyramid, the house of gods.
Oh, okay.
Gods, this is for you.
And social worldviews played a large part of the Aztec society in Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs had their own form of currency and had interesting ways of spending it. They also had many forms of punishments for different offenses.
I will buy your squash for these 6 cocoa beans.
These cocoa beans aren't good quality. They're worth nothing to me. My squash is 12 of your cocoa beans.
Okay.
What do you offer here?
Well, we have a variety of beans, squash, avocados, tobacco, hemp, peppers, and even some goods like raw materials, finished products, wood, fine jewelry, and medicine. Of course, we also have our valuable items from our gods, corn, and animals.
Whoa, what a great market! Here's a fresh shipment. As a merchant, I have carried these goods on my head using a tump line to ensure their safety.
Thank you, fine merchant. I respect my higher-ranking citizens.
Oh, don't be so formal. Besides, I'm not even a noble. My class ranking is inherited.
Oh, how I wish I was a noble. They don't have to pay tribute. I pay tribute through taxes and labor.
Thief! Thief! I will punish you by shaving your head and demolishing your house. As a noble, I know a thief when I see one. Wait, are you drunk? That is an act of evil. Now die! Slave, drag this dead body away.
Yes, master.
You know, you gotta be careful. If you mistreat your slave, it could be set free.
Oh, come on, I don't mistreat him. He has his own belongings, land, and even his own slave.
Just be careful. You don't want him to buy his liberty.
The education and values of the Aztecs are very different than ours today. Boys and girls had very different roles in schooling and studies, such as cosmetology, and the calendar played a very large part in Aztec life.
Listen, the council meeting is now in session. We have to discuss our time divided among all the gods. We need to keep balance. So everybody, keep your calendars, because without them, the world's gonna end. Who agrees?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Now, most importantly, the schooling of our children. What are we gonna do about it?
Well, the girls need to train for marriage by learning how to cook and spin wool.
The boys should go to the House of Youth. There they can learn history, religion, and even the art of war.
You must tell the parents to teach their children Aztec culture and traditions before they go to school.
Who agrees?
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Children, you listen to me because I am the teacher. Today we are learning religion. There are 13 levels of heaven and 9 of the underworld. The Aztec heavens and the underworld are not concepts like the heaven and hell of Christianity. They are not places of bliss or damnation, merely multiple levels of existence divided in purpose.
In conclusion, the Aztec worldview is very different from our present-day Canadian worldview.
The geography at that time was very diverse and different from our own.
There was also very different economic and social systems.
The education system was also very different from ours.
Most important was religion, though, following what the gods instructed and keeping them happy to balance out the nature.